Hi, good afternoon. My name is Gus Rodriguez, and I will be doing a presentation on photosynthesis and how it works. Photosynthesis consists of two stages: the light-dependent reactions, this area highlighted, and the light-independent reactions. The light-independent reactions include the Calvin cycle, which is this, which is a cycle that fixes carbon into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, or G3-pre, which is a precursor to glucose. The light reactions is the first stage of photosynthesis that takes place in the thylakoid membrane, this area right here. In this stage, energy from light is converted into chemical energy. Energy from light, which is the sun, is converted into chemical energy. Water, which is a reactant in the photosynthesis equation, is split, providing electrons and hydrogen ions. The electrons and hydrogen ions are accepted by NADP+, which is the oxidized form of NADPH, and serve as an electron carrier in the Calvin cycle. A molecule of NAD+ contains an extra phosphate group, which helps move electrons through the process of cellular respiration. A separate reaction uses the energy from light to add an inorganic phosphate known as ADP, which is the reduced form of ATP. This is where ADP is, and NADP+. ATP consists of an adenosine and 3 phosphate groups. Therefore, at the end of the first stage of photosynthesis, chemical energy is available in the form of NAD and NADPH. In the second stage of photosynthesis is the Calvin cycle, this section. The Calvin cycle builds molecules that make up glucose, the 6-carbon sugar that is the product of reactions following the Calvin cycle. The Calvin cycle uses energy to build a large molecule from smaller ones and takes place in the storms and 3 main steps. These are the 3 steps over here. The first step is known as carbon fixation, because it in CO2 in the atmosphere and fixes it into organic molecules that can be used by living things. This is the CO2 from the atmosphere. It goes into the cycle. During this step, the enzyme ribulose biphosphate carboxylase and oxygenase adds 1 carbon to a 5-carbon sugar known as RUBP. Then this forms a 6-carbon sugar that is energetically unstable, which means that it cannot hold its form, and then immediately splits into 2 carbon molecules called 3-PGA. In the second step, 3-phosphoglycerate is reduced and becomes G3P. In this process, ATP changes to ADP. Therefore, it is known as an endergonic reaction, meaning that it uses energy. Then NADPH donates a pair of electrons, which reduces a molecule and causes it to lose a phosphate group, which is this reaction right here. The product of this reaction is G3P, formed in the Calvin cycle. 6 molecules of G3P are formed, but only 1 leaves the cycle, while the others go on to the third step. This results in 1 G3P for every 3 CO2. This is the G3P that leaves the cycle. This one right here. In the third step, the remaining G3P regenerate RUBP, and because only 1 G3P is produced from a single turn of the cycle, it takes 6 total turns of the cycle to produce a single molecule of glucose. Thank you, and I hope you learned something today. Thank you, and have a nice day.